December 31st, 2023. Word of the year? Exploration. And I killed it in more ways than one. I learned more about life and myself than I ever expected to, and you'll see why. Kicking off 2023, I flew to Seattle, Washington to visit my friend Michaela. It was my first time in the rainy city, and I fell in love with it. From the public market to the gum wall, the Space Needle to the crisp, fresh air and rain, it was everything my soul needed and more after the rough December I had the month before. I got to meet Michaela's girlfriend and her Seattle friends. I saw the first Starbucks, indulged in Beecher's homemade cheese, and was reminded that skin tends to stick on wet slides.
No. This slide is not fucking.
On top of that, the trip aligned perfectly with my friend Erica's baby shower. I met Erica at a former company in LA, but she moved to Tacoma, just south of Seattle, in 2019. Reuniting with Erica and my friend Ruth for the first time since before the pandemic felt so great. And so did visiting Erica's new house and celebrating her and Ricky's upcoming baby. When I flew back to LA, I seemed to bring Seattle's rain with me, because it rained a lot. But I dig it. I love the rain, and being surrounded by great people only made the month better. Bowling with Kai and Jane, Mark's birthday, boba and catch-ups with Melanie, office cupcakes, and FaceTimes with Finley. Maintaining my word of the year exploration, I flew to Orlando, Florida in February to spend a weekend with my grandparents. I did the same thing in 2022, and quality time with them is something I'll never pass up. My cousin Bailey flew down too, and since we hardly ever have one-on-one time, it was really special. We ate great food, including crab legs from Miller's Ale House, fried fish from Catfish Kissimmee, and shrimp from Shell's in Melbourne. But one of the highlights was going on an airboat ride through the Florida Everglades. March consisted of throwing axes for Kelsey's birthday, I was awful, salads from Health Nut with Allie, and buying the new Hogwarts Legacy game. I'm not really a gamer, but Hogwarts Legacy made me feel like a kid again. Exploring Hogwarts and Hogsmeade, casting spells, attending classes, magic. In April, I traveled to my third city of the year, Nashville, Tennessee, for my friend Kayla's birthday, and to celebrate her and Steph's first home buying experience. And what made it even better was that Shane flew in to meet us and join in on the festivities. From barcades to exploring Broadway, photo walls to meeting Kayla's Tennessee friends, my first ever trip to Nashville was one for the books. At the end of April, Grandpa Ray came to LA to visit me for the first time since 2016. He finally met Pluto and was brave enough to sleep on my couch and hang out with me for 2 solid weeks. I took him to my favorite restaurant, to the office I work out of, and to the magical world of Harry Potter, which is something we've bonded together over since childhood. After exploring Hogwarts and having dinner at the Three Broomsticks, we even stopped by the new Super Mario Bros. Park. During the last weekend of my grandpa's stay, Mom and Dad flew to LA to join in on the fun. On that Friday night, we all went to watch a Dodgers game, which happened to be my parents' and Grandpa's first time attending one. On Saturday, we drove to Long Beach and boarded the Catalina Express that took us on a 1-hour boat ride off the coast to see Catalina Island. I had never been before, and I was blown away. The salty air, the boats, the amazing seafood, I was already planning my next trip back before we had even left. In May, I drove down to San Diego to stay in this gorgeous Airbnb for my friend Brian's birthday. We swam in the pool, soaked in the hot tub, little Kalani and I jumped on the trampoline, and Diana, being the chef extraordinaire as she is, cooked amazing meals that I'm still salivating over. Brian and Diana are just good people, so celebrating him was something I didn't want to miss. At the end of May, I met my Australian friend Kate for the first time, and we had a lovely day admiring and observing the art and gardens at the Getty Museum with Melanie. June brought birthdays, parties, and what summer without kicking it off with a little beach bonfire? In July, I flew to the windy city of Chicago, Illinois to visit my friend Jackie for the first time, and our friends Shane and Kelsey met us there too. We had the perfect Chicago-style weekend. Deep dish pizza from Louis Malnati's, still drooling. We saw the Bean, and the start of Route 66. We visited Starbucks Reserve, which is literally 4 stories and serves espresso martinis. And we even took a boat architecture tour through downtown, where we learned so much about the history of Chicago and the meaning behind its buildings. Jackie has an amazing view from her apartment, so on our last night there, after a few drinks, Shane and I got the idea to take a plunge into Lake Michigan, which was surprisingly warm and provided a beautiful view of the skyscrapers. After Chicago, Shane flew back to Los Angeles with me to carry out our tradition of working remotely together for 1 week each in LA and Pittsburgh. As always, we visited many of our favorite old spots from when he lived here, but we also tried new things too. One of which was something we've wanted to do for years, but never got around to it. Dine at 71 Above, which literally resides on the 71st floor of the US Bank building in downtown LA. From the panoramic views of the sun setting in Los Angeles to the food, it may have been one of the best restaurant experiences of my entire life. It was a 3-course meal, and every single dish blew my mind. My head from that experience is still up in the sky. The rest of July and August brought more friends' birthdays, Saddle Ranch brunches, and yes, another trip. This time for a week in Las Vegas, Nevada with my parents. I worked remotely from the hotel by day, and by night, experienced Vegas. We did not stop. We explored the Strip and Old Vegas, including the infamous Golden Nugget. We played the slots, and ended up winning a bit. We also ATV'd in the middle of the Mojave Desert, all while experiencing conditions from Hurricane Hillary. And it didn't stop there.
Welcome aboard.
While riding on a double-decker tour bus, we hit a lightning storm and a torrential downpour that came out of nowhere. And we saw Vegas flood a bit, literally even through the roof of the bar we escaped into for shelter. All in all, even though I had to work, the trip was an adventure, and I was really fortunate to spend that week with my parents, because we don't really get to see each other often.
I like all of it. I like Vegas.
In early September, just 5 days after getting back from Vegas, I found myself on yet another plane. Year of exploration going strong. I flew to Pittsburgh, where Shane, Keith, and I drove to Marietta for Finley's first birthday. Time flies, and she goes faster than the blink of an eye, and I never want to miss moments like this. The theme was Elmo, held at my Grandpa Ray's house, and she was surrounded by so many people that love her more than she'll ever know.
Happy birthday, Finley.
Finley! Even some of my best friends were in attendance, including Shane and Keith, obviously, Kelsey, who also brought little Abe and Audrey, and Austin and Jordana, who brought baby Kobe, who I got to meet for the first time. You are 1-year-old, little Finn, and I can't wait to celebrate so many more birthdays with you. After Finley's birthday, we stayed in Marietta for the night and partied with good people at Betsy and Nick's house, who I haven't seen in years. We went out to good old Front Street, Marietta, and then spent the night at Carly's new house. So new that it just so happened to be her first night sleeping in it too. She even hung up my tragic but classic kiss canvas as my housewarming gift from me to her. If you know, you know, and I'm sorry. The next morning, Shane, Keith, and I drove back to Pittsburgh, and it was my turn to work remotely for a week with Shane at his place. Because of Labor Day, we had Monday off, so Shane and I drove to an Airbnb in Kennerdale to celebrate with some people. Crashing on the Allegheny River was beautiful. Good old Sid was there, and I also got to meet some new friends in the process too. Shout out Jordan, Lex, Zach, and Morgan. The river was misty in the morning, which kind of resembled my mental health at the time, as this started to kick off a not-so-great time in my noggin. But the people, cabin, hot tub, and food helped. When we got back to Pittsburgh from Kennerdale, Alex, our former roommate, drove into town to stay the rest of the week with us. When we reunite, it's like no time has passed, and I'm so thankful for that. We had a fancy dinner at Monterey Bay Fish Grotto, went out to Lawrenceville bars, and got matching 3 tattoos, which happened to be my first tattoo. Shane tattooed all of us, in resemblance of the old 3 that hung on the former house we all rented together. To keep it short, for those who don't know, when Shane, Alex, and I were in our early 20s, we lived in a house together on Mount Washington in Pittsburgh. Long story short, the house caught on fire due to an electrical issue, and we lost almost everything. While traumatic, it brought us all closer together. The 3 stands for 3 East Sycamore, where we used to live. It stands for the 3 of us and our brotherhood. And when I look at it, my heart still bursts because I love it and them too. Before I flew home, I got to see Katie.
I'm leaving.
her dog Chandler, and her new puppy Ernie. I got to see Rick, Laura, and all around just a great trip. And then brought October, when something out of nowhere happened. It started with a random message that I got on Instagram, and let's just say it kind of sparked. Fast. Maybe too fast. Feelings kind of came out of nowhere, and it made me realize something I didn't expect or know about myself. I'm bi. So I told everyone.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous to tell you. I hope I don't cry.
Oh, it's okay, man. You can cry. It's okay. I obviously, man, you're my best friend. I'll support you through and through, no matter if you're gay, straight, bisexual, whatever you view yourself as, I just obviously want you to be happy.
Bisexual? No, buy the coffee pot.
That's okay.
Hell yeah.
I mean, duh, but...
All through October, I was on cloud 9. I had one of the best birthdays of my life, feeling so incredibly loved and accepted. It kicked off with Kelsey, Leanne, and I going to the Tapia Bros farm to get lost in the corn maze and get pumpkins. And then, later that night, I had a fall pajama-themed party at my apartment with some of my best friends. We ate pizza and meatballs, and Diana served it up as always with her amazing desserts. We carved pumpkins and drank, and drank, and drank. Maybe a little too much. I don't know. 31 just feels something good. Throughout the month, I attended more fall parties and carved more pumpkins. Megan and I got VIP tickets to the legendary Yoshiki's concert and after party. And I got to celebrate the beautiful love that my friends Kate and David share as they got married the last weekend of October. In November, I spent Thanksgiving Day with my friends Tanya and Dave in Manhattan Beach. And as if one Thanksgiving dinner wasn't enough, I used a few PTO days to fly home to Ohio to celebrate a belated Thanksgiving and work remotely for a week. A lot of quality time was spent. I stayed at Holly's house for a few nights and got to hang out with her and Finley. I went to a corporate hoes and CEOs party with Carly. I got ice cream with Emily, drinks with Ricky, and tried to spend as much time with family as possible before I left. December was a lot more laid back. I put my tree up and it rained more. For Christmas, I caught up on things and just had a lot of time to self-reflect. On December 29th, I ended my successful year of exploration with a flight to Austin, Texas. 1 month earlier, Shane and I put random cities into a bucket, and we decided that whatever city we pulled, that's where we'd go for New Year's.
Heyo.
And I'll pick up from that part of the story next year. My year of exploration was initially based on travel. I wanted to get out and see the world, not spend my money on frivolous purchases, but rather on experiences with amazing people. And I did that. As 2023 came to an end, so did some of my connections, but I don't regret a thing. Finding out that I was capable of loving more types of people than I thought, and coming out because of it. 2023 taught me that unless you explore, even a little, whether that be physically, emotionally, or mentally, you'll likely just stay where you are. Stagnant, and I don't want to be like that. Although my word of 2024 will be something new, I'm going to take my learnings with me and never stop exploring. And now I want to say thank you. To the family who raised me, and to all of my friends, whether you're from high school, college, or LA, I love you. And to the people I haven't met yet, I can't wait to love you too. This video is dedicated to Shadow. Shadow was my best friend Shane's cat, who passed away 1 week after my trip to Pittsburgh in September. I'll never forget your little squeaks or how you followed everyone around, just like a shadow.